Right after this injured soldier got home, Trump showed up and made a miracle happen. President Donald Trump has gone and done it again. Today he showed up at a hospital out of nowhere and made a soldier's dreams come true. Army Sergeant Alvaro Barrientos was wounded in Afghanistan on March 17. He lost part of his right leg. When President Trump heard, he and Melania were so moved they went out to Walter Reed Memorial Hospital in Bethesda, Maryland to present the veteran with the Purple Heart in person. Right before pinning the medal to Sergeant Barrientos, Trump quietly said, "When I heard about this and I wanted to do it myself. That right there is why our troops love our president." While it was less televised than his meeting with Barrientos, Trump also went and visited about a dozen other wounded warriors at the hospital in private before heading back home. "Look, I cannot say enough about what this means. Our troops should never have to go through the disrespect Obama showed them. Now that Trump's in charge, they are finally getting treated right. I know it's not much, but I think all of us should send a thank you prayer to Sergeant Barrientos and his wife. Leave an amen to make sure they get the message." Breaking, Trump drops everything to go to hospital with Melania. Look who else was there. Despite his busy schedule, President Trump was forced to head to the hospital with Melania when he learned who was there. President Trump made time yesterday to pay a visit to the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. He met with wounded soldiers and awarded Army Sergeant First Class Alvaro Barrientos the Purple Heart. Via Washington Times. Sergeant Barrientos was injured while serving in Afghanistan and lost most of his leg. The Purple Heart is the oldest military award still given, and honors brave soldiers wounded in combat. "When I heard about this, I wanted to do it myself," President Trump said. President Trump was joined by First Lady Melania. The presidential family joined Sergeant Barrientos and his wife, Tammy, for a picture in front of a presidential display. This is President Trump's first visit to the military hospital located in Bethesda. After awarding the Purple Heart, President Trump met privately with other wounded soldiers. "It is nice to have a president who genuinely cares about the sacrifices made by our servicemen." President Trump did not need to award the medal personally, yet he did so to remind members of our military that they will not be forgotten. When former President Obama awarded similar honors, he used the opportunity for self-promotion. The actions of Obama made it clear that he did not support our troops. The military was stripped down to the nuts and bolts under Obama, and what was once the world's greatest military was allowed to decay over the course of 8 years. Obama made it his personal mission to undermine American military might as our forces shrank and shrank. On the other hand, President Trump has made his commitment to our military clear. He has vowed to increase funding, allowing our military to operate at full capacity once again, while giving military leaders the power they'd need to do their job once more. Is our First Lady a class act? Tell America what you think. Sergeant Barrientos smiled with pride while being awarded a great honor from a president who truly cares. Our military is on track to recover from the errors of the Obama administration, as we regain our status on the world stage. Do you think President Trump loves our troops? Please share the story on Facebook and tell us what you think because we want to hear your voice. Oh my God! McCain insulted Trump, so Trump hit him with his secret weapon. Senator John McCain loved the fact that Trump launched an airstrike on Syria and now is saying that Trump should go further. McCain is a warmonger. Well, I think the fact that we acted was very important. And I support the president's action, McCain said. Here is what McCain said. But the signal that they're able to fly almost right away out of the same facility indicates that I don't think we did a thorough enough job, which would have been cratering the runways, McCain said Sunday morning on Face the Nation. Then Trump pulled out his secret weapon. He pulled out his construction knowledge. And somebody will say, well, then they can fill in the runways. Yeah, and we can crater them again too, McCain continued. Screw these fake Republicans. They jump on board and want us to fight multiple wars. Where were they when we need to fix healthcare? Who is First Lieutenant Clint Lawrence and why should he receive a presidential pardon? A recent email message from LTC, Allen West is bringing the attention of the public to the travesty incurred to First Lieutenant Clint Lawrence. In it, he asks us to sign a presidential pardon. In the message, Colonel West wrote, "In July 2012, First Lieutenant Clint Lawrence was sent to Afghanistan to replace a platoon leader who was seriously wounded in a Taliban attack. On his third day on the job, Clint and his men were on patrol when a U.S. helicopter radioed that a motorcycle was sitting outside of the village near a road only used by the Taliban. When the motorcycle started gunning toward the platoon, First Lieutenant Lawrence ordered his marksmen to fire. 3 men were on the motorcycle. Lawrence ordered his men to fire, 2 killed, 1 was wounded, and he was charged for his actions. His defense was that he was trying to protect his men. The men in his unit testified at his trial, some for him, but others against him. About 1 year later, Lawrence was convicted of all charges. His sentence included 20 years in prison, forfeiture of all pay, and dismissal from the U.S. Army. He currently is being held at the U.S. Disciplinary Barracks at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. Continuing with Colonel West's message. Without a doubt, these men posed a threat to Clint's platoon. And as the commanding officer, Clint knew he was responsible for getting every single one of his soldiers back to base alive. Colonel West was in a similar situation involving the enemy in Iraq. He fired his weapon near a captive's head attempting to gain information about a possible attack on him men. He eventually was fined $5,000 and was allowed to retire with full benefits. You can read about Colonel West's decision to lead the movement for a presidential pardon for Lawrence in a recent issue of Newsmax magazine. After reading this, the question is, do you believe Colonel West, a highly decorated military officer, and his stance for First Lieutenant Lawrence? If you do and agree Lawrence should be pardoned, then please sign the petition and help make it happen. If President Trump can gain freedom for 6 prisoners being held in Egypt, then he will most likely pardon Lawrence. Trump just fired Obama's Surgeon General and immediately replaced him. This surprising choice, liberals freak. In one of the newest White House developments, Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy, who was a President Obama appointee, was forced out by President Trump. He was turned down over Deputy Surgeon General Sylvia Trent Adams, who will now be the acting Surgeon General. She is an African American female nurse, no less. So much for that xenophobia people accuse the president of. Supporters of the former Attorney General are knocking her down for being what they call just a nurse. Even mainstream liberal media are taking passive-aggressive jabs at the new Surgeon General. They released an article that was titled, "Dr. Vivek Murthy, an Obama appointee, resigns as Surgeon General, replaced by Deputy Sylvia Trent Adams, a nurse." Despite being only a nurse as they called her, she also has a PhD, which they failed to mention. Probably because it does not fit into their narrative. The New York Times treated her the same way by releasing an article with a similar title reading, "Nurse Replaces Surgeon General After Obama Appointee Resigns." They wait until the very last paragraph of the article to note that she has the advanced doctorate degree and was a nurse in the Army who was formerly the Deputy Surgeon General. Yet when she was the Deputy Surgeon General who was second in command to her predecessor, nobody questioned her history or credentials. If she was good enough, then why is she not that okay enough now? Especially considering she would have had the role she currently has, had the former Surgeon General resign or step down. The president could have fired her when his administration began. It isn't uncommon after all to keep people in high positions such as that when a new administration is being put into place. Which means the president must have confidence in her credentials and capabilities to put her in this position. Despite the fact that this is a temporary promotion, it was the conservative media that went out and applauded Trent Adams for her promotion to this high position. The same people that liberals call racist, xenophobic, homophobic and every derogatory slur under the sun. If they were all those things, why would they be happy at her appointment? Spokesman for the Department of Health and Human Services said. Dr. Murthy, the leader of the U.S. Public Health Service Commissioned Corps, was asked to resign from his duties as Surgeon General after assisting in a smooth transition into the new Trump administration. Dr. Murthy has been relieved of his duties as Surgeon General and will continue to serve as a member of the commissioned corps. Secretary, Tom Price thanks him for his dedicated service to the nation. In his own Facebook post, the former Surgeon General said, "While I had hoped to do more to help our nation tackle its biggest health challenges, I will be forever grateful for the opportunity to have served." For the grandson of a poor farmer from India to be asked by the president to look out for the health of an entire nation was a humbling and uniquely American story. "I will always be grateful to our country for welcoming my immigrant family nearly 40 years ago and giving me this opportunity to serve." As some users noted, she will be the very first female RN nurse to hold the position she currently holds, which is a huge milestone in itself. As President Trump said during his campaign, he knows how to surround himself with talented people, and this is what he is doing. Running his country like a well-oiled machine, like he does his business. It certainly worked well for him, and business will likely continue to work for this country. It doesn't matter that she is a woman, nurse, or African American. Clearly, the president thinks she is the best woman for the job, so he appointed her. That should be enough for people, especially considering she was originally appointed by President Obama. But liberal progressives will find any excuse under the sun to criticize the president, even in a ludicrous and ridiculous situation such as this. This just shows how little liberals care about equality. They want equality when it suits their needs, benefits, and desires, but they don't when it doesn't. It is hypocrisy at its absolute finest. If you are against misogyny and xenophobia, then you are against it anywhere and everywhere, not just when it suits you.